A very warm welcome to everyone. It's a real pleasure here to be joined in the studio by leaders who are actively shaping the future of work. On behalf of ETHR World and Occitana, I welcome you to this ET Studios discussion from metrics to meaning, reclaiming the human side of recognition. Now you think about it, most organizations do have an employee recognition program in place. We track it, it's automated, it's regulated, but in the midst of all this efficiency, something essential is lost, that human touch. In fact, Occitana's State of Employee Recognition 2025 report shows that about 65% of employees are worried that as more and more AI dominates the workplace systems, the human side of recognition will be lost and it will feel less personal. Now think about it. Recognition is not just a certificate or a plaque on the wall. It's not about the quarterly round of applause. It's about feeling seen and not just acknowledged. And to embark on this journey of how to impart that human touch to these metrics and to recognition, we have a wonderful set of panelists here today. Please join me in welcoming them. We have with us Harsh Rehan, CHRO and EVP HR India GSK. Candy Fernandez, Director, People and Great Work, Middle East, Africa and South Asia, Occitana. We also have with us Neha Arur, Senior Director, HR, Z's Associates. And we have with us Primita Singh, President and CHRO, Havels. A very warm welcome to all of you here today. Thank you. Thank you for your valuable time. All right. So let's start off with the question at hand, right? How has the meaning of recognition evolved over the years? What is its context in the modern workplace? And also, how has it become a strategic lever? I'll ask Candy to start off this discussion.
Thank you, Shubha. So I think if you look at recognition, it's a deep innate need of every human being. Right? And it looks like or seems like one of these most simple things. But really, when it's done right, it builds this powerful shift in terms of how employees even show up at work, how they connect at work, how they feel about their work, how they perform. And we all know that the last few years haven't been easy. We've seen the global pandemic. We've seen geopolitical turmoil. You're talking about widespread layoffs. All of this making people feel really stuck in this survival mode, right? Leading to burnout, a feeling of undervaluation. In fact, the Global Culture Report of Occitana says that 79% of our workforce report suffering from burnout. And a third of the global population is feeling like they're merely surviving. For India, that number is as high as 52%. So not a great state to be. And this is where recognition becomes a very powerful lever, like you spoke about, a strategic lever. It's literally a lifeline for employees, right? How has it changed? I think recognition is no longer just an applause. It's no longer just a thank you. I think it's moved to being or making meaningful moments for your people, sending them this message of we see you, you're doing great. You're making a difference at the workplace. That's important. Recognition is no longer this once a year annual award program. It's important that it's embedded in the daily fabric of the organization. It's important that you spoke about personalization. It's important that it's personal to you, to the individual's preference or need of recognition. I think that's my take on recognition as to get this conversation started.
Absolutely. And I feel with personalization, there also comes that question of, you've done some great work. How can we support you? And as earlier you had said, actions speak louder than words. I think recognition also has to speak in that personalized manner. Sure, Neha.
Yeah, I want to just add to what Candy said. All of us have been in HR for a long time. In my own journey, there are three things that come to my mind. One is, I think recognition has gone from stingy to generous, right? When when we would only recognize something very outstanding or change the business or, very high visibility, to even applauding small wins, right? It was not just great, even good has to be applauded. So I've seen that big shift. And the other one is craving it to asking for it. The generation today has so much of social instant gratification. Then you create a conflict when you get like 100 likes on something externally, and internally imagine you do a good job today and you wait for like 3 months for somebody to even notice it for you. So, so I think there's a big shift over years that has become, so it's become such an innate human need to what Candy said, that if you don't give it, there is something in the culture that starts showing up in all your listening channels, right? And it becomes actually like a cultural issue.
That's a very good point that you brought up. A lot of people are now turning to social media for that validation that they crave and they aren't getting at their organizations. I think once their boss sees those many 100 comments congratulating this person on LinkedIn, and the boss feels, okay, maybe we should also recognize them. So that's a valid point. I think everyone wants that validation, gratification.
I think to me, in the last, post-COVID, hybrid is a reality. And with that, the need for recognition is one. But the biggest change that I believe is making it more omni-channel. It's not just top-down. I think when we introduce models like this, imagine a boss getting a recognition from a team member, and the coffee table or the water cooler chat is, he gave a recognition to the boss, right? And how do you make that as part of a culture where it's truly peer in all directions? So that to me is one powerful change that I'm seeing happening in this world. People look for it. People also want to share it. And therefore, in the program design, the personalization that you said, the challenge for us is, in this modern context, now, how do you bring that in, that the personalization is truly personal, right? And the other third, I would say, is the word "and" here. So yes, you should have monthly, yes, you should have quarterly and an annual, which is maybe mega, but also include those moments that matter, also include those points of reflection where an employee would seriously appreciate that an organization saw with the hybrid lens. So yeah, that's
a very good point. Of course, when somebody does some great work, instead of waiting for that period, that quarterly recognition, it might also get missed out by then. So quickly acknowledge it, right? Fantastic.
Can I just emphasize one point that Harsh said? Earlier, recognition could also be like a closed room. But I've seen, unless you get recognized in front of a lot of people, people don't even feel the recognition. So I think broadcasting, I would totally agree, is a very...
Praise in public and criticize in private. I think that's a fantastic practice to still follow. Primita, would love for you to weigh in on this.
Yeah, thanks. Thank you I think the discussion is going really, really comprehensive. A lot has been said about recognition. The way I see is recognition starts by giving employees the feeling that you're recognized. And you're recognized for the value that you bring into the organization. Recognition for me is a much deeper construct than applauding the work getting done. So recognition is about making employees feel, and at a large scale, right? I mean, one is handling 30,000, 40,000 employees. How do you create structure, program, culture where everyone is feeling that they have a role to play for the bigger picture of the organization? So whether it is inclusion, whether it is engagement, whether it is actually coaching managers to recognize in a way that the employees feel valued, that for me is the crux of recognition. And I think HR plays a very, very crucial role, because by virtue of our function and by virtue of the strategic importance that we have in the organization, we are shouldering that responsibility of coaching managers on these aspects. We are shouldering responsibility of being that glue in the organization that propels the organization to take everyone along. So when we think of recognition, we think of platforms, we think of systems, and we think of design, which can encompass everyone. There are multiple generations at workplace. They want to be recognized in different ways. Ultimately, it has to fuel motivation. Ultimately, it has to give employee that feeling that I bring value to work every day. And for that, we need to personalize it in different ways. We have to personalize it for different generations. We have to personalize it for different socioeconomic backgrounds they are coming from. We have to personalize it for the diverse kind of work that they are doing. Not everything can be maybe tangible or linked to business metrics. There are certain aspects of work which get unnoticed. For example, if somebody is filling in for attrition, if somebody is filling in for when somebody is on leave, if somebody is taking an extra project and going the extra mile. So recognition for me has to make sure that these aspects get the strategic place in the organization by bringing it to the conscious of the organization.
Absolutely, right? And that's what we talk about when we say it's no longer just a checklist. You have to add those moments and you have to make sure that the actual contribution is recognized when an employee goes above and beyond their role. So that brings me to my next question. It's no longer just a compliance driven activity, right? Now, how do we make it truly meaningful in a way that it doesn't feel hierarchical and it doesn't feel like just something that we're checking off a list? I'll take this across to Harsh.
I think we need, thank you for the great question. If you imagine an organization today with hybrid, in the roles you might have people who are in different locations, maybe in the country and even outside. And therefore, when you are thinking of making a system work for everybody, I think it's also about finding those people who might feel unseen and making a system and a manner as HR that it's easy, right? At times, HR policies on programs could be such written in a manner that people would think, can I recognize this or I can't recognize this? So I would say the first, I think, core principle is, yes, outcomes you will recognize, but recognize the behaviors and make that cheat sheet of the behavior easy for people to understand across shop floors, across your field forces, across multiple locations, across different diversity norms that you will see in society around you. So that to me is one big part of that design that we do.
Excellent. So you make sure that it's very inclusive. And I think a lot of thought goes into that. Would any of you like to give me an example of how you do it at your workplace? Would you like to?
I think with all the technology happening, one of the example is make it available on the technology people use, right? And therefore, if you are using a Teams, right, let that be how is the recognition platform getting integrated to the tool that people use. So therefore, the tools that we use in an organization has a place for technology to play a role, right from the fact that you can recognize on those platforms, could be within the team, could be within a larger social platform within the organization. And one very important, give nudges, which are digital. So nudges to the people that you have to recognize. It's been a month since you recognized. We saw you recognizing one person more, right? Potentially the others you need to choose. So digital using is an example, I would say, which is coming very helpful now for us to integrate recognition thinking in the platform that employees love using.
You know, for all the downsides of AI, sometimes it can really cut through that bias and show us things that we are missing.
Absolutely. And the reason is because recognition is not a muscle everybody has. There are people and leaders you will find who do it very organically, like they're very inclusive and it comes very naturally. But a lot of the leaders, especially who've grown in a very different era, it doesn't come very naturally to them. Second is it's a very matrix organization, right? Today, you're not just confined to a particular location and your team. You're working with the larger enterprise. You're working with colleagues globally. And, how do you make it accessible and democratize the whole process, right? So one is people who know it naturally may just go onto the platform. But if you look at the statistics on that, you will always find it is the same set of people who give and it is the same set of people who receive. So one of the metrics that we track is how many unique receivers and how many unique givers. So at the time of saying that how many unique receivers, we say, okay, maybe 50% of the people should get a nudge or a recognition in. Not just like, I don't say recognition is just money. It's like just a thank you note in this period of time. But if it's the same sort of 20% who keep giving, then also, the benefit is not being accepted by all. So we also nudge and say how many more people can give, can more leaders. So there are leaderboards, there are functional boards that can be put across. You can lead with a metric, but you can actually influence an outcome.
Fantastic. Lead with a metric and influence an outcome. I think that's a good line to take away from this. My next question, I'll take it across to you, Primita. Harsh spoke about this, right? Outside the traditional corporate organization, you do have your employees as well. What are the challenges when it comes to recognizing them and including them in the employee recognition program? And you have different sets of employees and not all in that traditional background.
Well, yes, that is a very, very interesting question, actually. Now, when we talk about recognition and when we talk about recognizing the larger ecosystem, one is we can approach it from the lens in terms of the good work being done by that. And therefore, we are required to think and design things which applauds that good work, which is very outcome-based recognition. The other one is if we can also focus on what kind of inputs that we are, that this ecosystem is putting in terms of whether they are rainy days or hotter days, they are out there, particularly the gig workers, in the sun, in the rain, doing their job. So how can certain aspects be linked in putting into the effort? Now, once again, why we are wanting to do this is, of course, there is a feel-good factor, but there is also a business outcome awaiting for it. The way to go about is to make sure that you build a bridge between the both without the individual feeling that I'm being manipulated. Because any form of recognition which, strikes a very direct correlation, tends to get a little bit of attention drawing to the fact that am I being manipulated for my efforts. So one needs to be watchful of that. At the same time, it is also important to understand the real insights of that community, the employees that you're recognizing for. Now, at the shop floor, for example, we give several opportunities for people to share their ideas. And those ideas may not be restricted to their work. They could be restricted. They could be around the work environment also. They could be about helping each other in their lives also. And we try to bring those ideas. It could be about safety, for example, which is very important. And then we try to recognize those ideas. Of course, in turn, they feel that they are valued for things even beyond just the productive manners that they are putting into the work. So these are few of the things that we do. And I hope I've been able to respond to what you wanted to ask.
No, that's very articulate indeed. And it's significant that you mentioned one important point, which is that while employee recognition can drive business growth, and it does very often, it's directly linked to it, it shouldn't feel in any way manipulative, because that would be counterproductive. Indeed, I think that's fantastic the way you framed it. Harsh, would you like to add to this?
I think to me, one magic mantra is make it part of the life. And therefore, if you're a shop floor and you're doing a Gemba walk, right, how do you introduce the whole recognition as part of that Gemba? So at the end of the Gemba walk, in the design, it is there. Most of our line leaders, they do their daily stand-ups or weekly stand-ups. How do you bring that as a standard agenda on there? So they use those good old lean principles and say in your standard agenda, recognition is not a standing item, and it is a 360-degree recognition. So it is not that only the manager would do recognition. That slot you use for, I think, having the peers talk to each other about what they appreciated. That takes time, but to me, that is a very powerful way of building the culture of recognition, which is at the core, right? We genuinely believe that somebody did, and I see you. To me, that I see you is becoming much more important in today's time than I saw it maybe 3 years back.
No, it's very true. It's about belonging. It's about that culture, indeed, at the core of it.
I'm
Candy.
going to build a little bit on what Harsh said, because it's so important that I think the biggest challenge when you have this section of the workforce divided is visibility. Because what we take for granted is that recognition is only important to the recipient, but it's so powerful even for the giver and for the observer. It's inspirational for all three sides, right? So when I can make it visible, like including it in your team huddles or in your everyday interactions, it just gives a very different message, a powerful message of we care about you, not just as an employee, but as a whole person. Your everyday micro experiences matter to me, right? The other thing I think is also important in such setups is there's often a digital divide, because you have a lot of deskless workers, you guys know that, and they may not have access to their laptops or phones all the time. How are you enabling them to access these platforms and these programs? And how are you making it relevant to them? One of the things we do, because we do have a manufacturing setup, is we have kiosks outside of the shop floor. So we can go recognize anytime. And we have digital display. So if someone's recognized, it's displayed immediately. So I think there's a good balance of in-person and digital recognition that makes it successful to them or more meaningful to them, really.
And it's all about striking that balance, right? It's great to see how you are achieving that. Now, let me dwell a little bit about the technology aspect of it, and I'll take that across to you, Neha. Now, with technology, along with scale and consistency, how do we also manage to add that human touch that we're all talking about to recognition and that emotional depth too?
Right. Let's talk about personalization using technology. So let's do this exercise between you and me. So if I say, Shilpa, great job done. You feel, okay, I recognize you, felt good. But I say, Shilpa, great job done. I really admired the way you made sure the logistics were in place. I actually appreciate that the shoot started on time. You made sure there was silence and all of us were ready for it. Now, you feel it as a little, I hope that made you feel good, but it also makes you feel, why I'm recognizing you. I'm not doing lip service, but I'm making it very authentic. I've observed you and I said, hey, it looks like you've done this many times. So you also feel recognized as a subject matter expert. I think that is the difference we have to bring in terms of recognition as to how to tell people what are the skills they're good at, how they feel good about it. And they know they have to leverage and build our in future. So it's a little larger game than that. One of the ways I can tell you how we are using it in my company is we go through our annual appraisals twice a year, right? And every 6 months, you have a list of people who are your top performers, right? Your top 2 ratings. Many of them are also very smart people. They get promoted. Now, when you get promoted, there is a lot of recognition and celebration. But there are a lot of people who are still in those 2 top boxes, but they're not promotees. What we do is we actually use AI algorithms to create a very personalized recognition email or a phone call for them. Okay. And it's not their direct report, but it's actually a senior leader, either like a principal level leader, who will send out an email saying, hey, Harsh, thank you so much for contributing over the last 12 months. And the entire data gives a summary of why we felt Harsh did such a great job. It is so heartwarming, and at least 50 to 100 of them respond back saying, I'm so happy you noticed my work. You know exactly what I'm going right? And this, look at a scale, you can't do it manually. Like you can't read every form and create a text around it. So we use our internal tools and algorithm. We use AI extensively, not just to create a summary review. And it also say, hey, I know you're a second time receiver, right? So it personalizes to a point that it creates such a wow factor every 6 months. So that's the way we've been able to, of course, there is a platform which gives access to all. And there are so many other use cases. If you look at recognition as a full ecosystem, wherein you can obviously, of course, traditional methods like call it out in the town hall, all of that exists. But at scale, I completely agree. You can't just leave it to chance. You have to have the right technology and the intent to it.
I really like that unique touch of adding that summary of one's achievements. I think that really adds value, makes it meaningful. True. Thanks, Neha, for your kind words. Thank you. Would anyone else like to weigh?
Refer to me, recognition is now beyond badges. Yeah. If I have to say, I think there were days when you would have a photograph on the wall and that word. Today, I think it's narrative, right? And how do you make that genuine, authentic recognition a true water cooler chat, right? And therefore, the narrative, I'm glad you're using AI for it. I think that's a beautiful idea. I'll take it away. It's good to help managers, and you have to help managers also do it. It doesn't come naturally, and therefore giving them technology tool to do that is absolutely brilliant.
I'm just sharing one thing. Sometimes we only think about how the recognition is going to make the other person feel. But I can tell you, the person who's giving feels as good, right? So I was in this conversation with some of our leaders, and I said, when was the last time you logged onto the platform to send out these cards? He said, never. I said, can you just send out about 3-4 of them now? Okay. And he did. So all those people started responding to him, and they was very happy. He said, I felt so good giving. So I think giving also creates a lot of well-being for the person who's giving it out, right?
Correct. And the fact that, when you send those nudges saying, hey, 50% to the people, you haven't done this yet, I think they can also overcome that barrier someone's telling me to do it, so it's okay. I can go ahead and do it. I think sometimes people read that approach.
Yeah, it's not punitive in the leader. What is it? What is it going to make you feel?
No, it eases it up for them, right? They might be a little unsure about it, but when you give them that nudge, it definitely helps. Yes, Primita, go ahead.
The way we do it is, we also try to be mindful of the fact that, when we are encouraging and when we are kind of influencing managers to recognize more, it remains in the overall cultural context of the organization, right? Why for us it is important, I'll share with you, is because in our organization, we don't really celebrate one-upmanship. We are very mindful of collaborative working. We recognize teams, but even when we have to recognize individuals, we are very mindful that it should enhance the collaborative culture that the organization has. So to that extent, the way we are approaching recognition, the way we approach recognition is by embedding it in the organizational values. So every time, that's the framework we give to our managers. Every time you're required to recognize an employee, please recognize for the effort, but help them understand how they propelled certain value-anchored behaviors. That's also a constant reminder for the managers. That also, in a way, becomes a very positive loop in the organization, because everyone at all points in time is continually referring to the value-anchored behaviors, whether it is at time of recognition or it is at time of appraisals or it is at time of talent management. So in that sense, we have embedded it in our system in a manner that it propels value-based recognition. And therefore, there is a common language around recognition. Technology, of course, helps. It helps to scale this. It helps to take it to far and wide. The approach and the reach is far and wide. But conceptually, that is how we are doing. In fact, we have coined this term called Pratham as a recognition for our employees. And just because, like I said, for us, it has to be inclusive. So it is Pratham for this segment of employees, Pratham for that segment of employees. And Pratham is, encompassing many, many different ways in which you recognize. So you recognize for outcomes, you recognize for inputs, you recognize for work done well, you recognize for values. And Pratham really stands for praising talent and milestones. So it's not just, it's about your individuality as well as the work that you deliver.
You said, Primita, on embedding it in our values, because that's so important. In some way or the other, I think we're all saying the same things, that I think for recognition to become transformational and move from transactional, we're not just plugging it into our existing systems, we're plugging it into your everyday experiences, you're plugging it into your everyday initiatives, you're plugging it into micro experiences, really. Because when you think of it, when recognition is integrated into the daily fabric of the organization, it can just create magic for the organization. In fact, we have research that says that highly integrated recognition increases great work by over 1,000%, increases a thriving organization by over 600% or so, and increases high engagement by over 700%. That's what I think all of us are trying to achieve, and in fact, that's the way we're going. It's so awesome to hear all of us doing all of that great work.
No, but I'm not surprised to hear the fact that it grows multifold, right? Because I think recognition gives you that sense of security as well. And as you said right at the start, that so many of us are functioning in survival mode. I think when you feel recognized, you stop or you pause for a bit and you feel more secure in that organization, knowing that you're not just acknowledged, valued, you're also seen, right?
Right? We're talking about culture, and the culture is something we experience at work, but there is a culture we come from, right? How we are brought up, how we felt recognized in our family, and how we recognize our family. So a good segue is, we can't say, I will recognize in office and I will be inclusive in office, but at home, I will behave very differently. And that also creates a lot of conflict. It seems like a check in the box or a chore. So I would challenge to say, how many times do we just say thank you to our parents or our child or to a house help or anybody who's making our life easy? And I think probably that's where the practice starts. and it's an extension of your personality of being grateful or recognizing whether at work or not at work, right?
I know. You know, that's something that I've consciously started doing more. And like we said, right, even the giver feels so good. So I think when you start recognizing it, you do feel good as well. So fantastic point there. And now it is time to wrap up our discussion, but not before we touch upon best practices. And in fact, you sparked this off, Primita, by talking about best practices for making sure that recognition has an impact and how to measure that impact on culture and employee engagement and experience. Would you like to expand on it?
Yeah, so firstly, just to share best practices on recognition, one of the things that we have done, not currently in the organization that I'm currently serving, but in the past, and you reminded me of it, is Gratitude Week. So we do once a year a Gratitude Week where you could, recognize anyone and say thank you to anyone on any account, because it propels well-being indeed. Talking about how to measure the efficacy or the impact on recognition. Well, actually, it is a very tough one. There is no direct measure, but I would say that the way we do see, its impact is that, of course, in employee engagement and in employee sentiment and employee pulse analysis, you do see a positive reinforcement. You see positive reinforcement across the domains of how much my manager understands me, to how much the management values me, to how much my work is more meaningful, because recognition actually cuts across the entire space. It's a very innate feeling. It's not something which is like a skill which can be, just kind of measured and transferred into work. So you do see those positive. The absence of it can be measured very easily. So that we can measure very easily.
Yeah, on a lighter note, that's so true, right? You can tell in this organization that I think people feel valued and seen. Very well praised, yes.
Culture of recognition goes beyond the recognition policy. Therefore, as a CHR, as a head of HR, how is your culture of genuinely empathizing with an employee, understanding their state and make them seen? Goes into your performance management, goes into all the other employee lifecycle processes. And if you don't do that, and you only do a badge, then the culture is the problem that we were talking about, that the people will feel that, because then it will just that you give me a token here, but my rest of the life is not great. So that's very important, that you have to have it, that culture has to flow through on values, absolutely, end to end.
Yes, it has to be holistic. You can't say, hey, great job during this week on that, but you missed out on that. But that's not really empathizing, right? You're saying that this person's done this. So I think recognition has to be comprehensive. Fantastic.
Otherwise, it propels tokenism.
Exactly. Exactly.
They don't want that.
Correct.
The other word that comes to my mind is when you're creating a recognition ecosystem, it has to be fit for purpose, right? So you can have ways or technology that helps you recognize every day. Then you can have events at certain unit of governance, whatever works in your organization, whether office or a region or a function or a team, that can happen monthly. Then you can have quarterly awards, you can have annual awards. So you can keep amplifying it, keep broadening it. Whatever works for your organization, you can make recognition very fit for purpose. So I don't think there is one solution to it. I think there is a online, offline, a mix of solutions as to whatever works for your organization, whatever you want to be measured, and whatever you want to amplify in your organization. Some fundamental principles of broadcast, timely, authentic, obviously cut across any of the channels, but you used the word omni-channel, and it is truly omni-channel. It can't be you can't just deploy technology and say technology is going to order the job and I'm not going to do anything else. I think it's a mix of solutions that really come together for a company.
Very true. Omni-channel, cross-channel, truly customized to lend authenticity.
Shilpa, I mean, you started with best practices, and I think we all can bring best practices to the table. But I think best practice is really what practice works for your organization at that given point of time, because your practices need to align with business strategy and business goal. It needs to align with the sentiment of the workforce as well, right? So a number of things that we all spoke about, all true. I don't think there's anything right or wrong here, but what works for your organization. And in terms of measurement, like we all said, I think it's a combination of both qualitative and quantitative measurements. But what's important is to understand, what do you want to measure for your organization? Where was the pain point? Where are you right now, and where do you want to get? So that's going to tell you what you want to measure. I might want to measure the employee experience impact, which is really how successful my recognition program is, technology and framework. I might want to measure the company culture, which will require me to do my employee surveys, my pulse surveys, group discussions, paired interviews, all that coming together. And again, technology can be a great aid there, because if you have the right technology, it's throwing out the right dashboard, an impact dashboard, a flight risk dashboard, a job transition dashboard, and all that coming together. I might want to also maybe measure the company culture, and that's where maybe systems that we use, a HRMS system, an LMS system, all of that coming together. I think all that put together gives you an idea of measurement. But I was recently speaking to a leader, and he told me, all this is great, Candy, but I have one very non-traditional, unconventional way of measuring it. And it's not right or wrong, but I just look at how many boomerang employees do I have? How many are going and coming back to my organization? And I totally loved that. And I thought, yeah, that's such a great way of measuring it. I don't need a dashboard. I don't need data to measure it. It's just how many of them are coming back. And that's something that really resonated with me when I heard that.
Very true indeed. I think at the core, you have an organization that connects with your employees to make them keep coming back. And with that, we are concluding this discussion. I think all of you made some very valid points here. I think a lot of food for thought. We're going to be thinking about this discussion long after it's over, from Pratham that you have, instituted in your organization, how you spoke about making recognition truly feel authentic. And personalize it across channels. Candy, all those great stats you gave us, that industry overview, and how you left us with a thought about a boomerang employee being a true measure of how your company culture is. And Harsh, it's great to see how you are recognizing across roles and hierarchies and making everyone feel included. So thank you. It's been great listening to all of you and to be a part of this discussion. Thank you for your very valuable time here. Thank you so much for having you.